Oklahoma is 49th in education in America, and the man responsible is Superintendent Ryan Walters. Now, you might be familiar with him for people calling out his hate after a transgender child died in one of their schools. You also might have seen that a grand jury is investigating Ryan Walters for the spending of pandemic relief funds. You also might have seen that multiple Republican state reps put out a joint statement that says, over the past 4 years, we've witnessed Ryan Walters' often questionable leadership. In the past 2 weeks, he has violated the Open Meetings Act, denied legislators access to executive sessions, deprived districts of rollover money meant for school safety, and is now putting children's lives at risk by withholding appropriated funds for emergency asthma inhalers. There's a lot more that could be talked about with Ryan Walters, but he put out a statement today, and we have to take a listen because 49th in education, questionable spending, where is he wanting to put the money?
The first thing I want to talk about is a request that we're going to be making in this budget, and it will be a request for $3 million to provide Bibles to the Oklahoma classrooms. We have talked about ensuring that our history courses include the role the Bible played throughout American history. We've talked about the efforts of left-wing groups and the teachers' unions to drive the Bible out of school. I believe it's important for historical context for our kids to understand the role the Bible played. And so that $3 million ask is provided in the budget in front of you. That would be in conjunction with the $3 million that we're putting forth currently to provide Bibles in the classroom. So this would give us the ability to utilize $6 million in less than 2 years to ensure that the Bible hasn't been driven out of Oklahoma classrooms, and would be a significant step for the state of Oklahoma to ensure that we're not allowing the left to censor American history.
So that's the new defense you hear from a lot of Christo-fascist groups now. It's basically that you can't have the Bible not be in school because that's actually censoring American history, because American history is the Bible. And he's repeating similar statements here. And a lot of people are going, wow, he's asking for $3 million for Bibles. That's ridiculous, especially because what's going to end up happening is it's going to be taken to court, and they're not going to be allowed in the history classroom. Everyone knows that, including him. But what people are missing is he's already allocated $3 million to this, right? He's already put $3 million towards it. Now he wants $3 million more. He needs $6 million for something he knows is going to be struck down in the courts. He knows there's going to be probably some sort of fine that the state has to pay due to the courts, when they rule in favor of whoever sues them. They know that all this money is going to be wasted on these Bibles. I do wonder what company is providing them and if they have any connection to him, his church, things like that. But he's 49th in education, right? And he's decided that he needs to throw millions of dollars into Bibles. There's talk, as I mentioned, from state reps about how he's not doing open meetings, how he's not giving money that belongs to schools, how he's withholding money for asthma inhalers. What are they supposed to do? Be prayed over when they choke to death in their history classes? Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And you might be wondering, well, are people calling for him to resign? And the answer is yes. Even Republicans have called for this man to resign. Some pretty high-level Republicans have called for this man to resign. People at a national level have called for him to resign because they view what he's doing, even people that support what he's doing, what he stands for. He's too extreme. He's doing things too quickly, and he won't do it. He won't do it. He wants people to force him out of office some way with a lawsuit or whatever. And you might be wondering why. Why would he do that? Because we know what he's going to do, right? As soon as he's forced out of office, he's going to play victim. He is going to be the one that was really wrong. He's going to do his trip to Newsmax, which I think just settled with, was it Dominion or Smartmatic? We don't know the number yet. He's going to do his trips to Fox News, OAN, things like that. And he is going to play victim. He's going to be like, I tried everything. And then he's either going to try to go into, I don't think he'd succeed as like an actual politician. He's a little too slimy for that, to be honest. Like, I've listened to him, right? I don't think he could do being a politician that people actually know about. Like superintendent of schools, a lot of people vote for them without ever hearing them speak. I don't think he could ever go beyond that. But he could be in a Trump administration, right? Trump could appoint him to something, or a Republican could appoint him to something. I don't think it'd be in Oklahoma. I think he's too hated in Oklahoma at this point, especially with people that have children. But I view that this is just someone planning their out. I think he is spending money on purpose. I think he is spending money on Bibles and things like that on purpose to try to get himself removed. I don't think he actually thinks this is okay. I don't think he actually thinks that this is for, some of these people be like, well, if even for a minimum amount of time, we're going to have the Bible in school. I think he's the type of person who's doing this to try to get himself a job, right? I think he was one of the ones that also was trying to put the 10 Commandments in the schools, and people were talking about how that would be sued. I think that was him too. Could have been another one. There's a couple of him in the country. And of course, he's doing all of this and putting money not towards education, taking school funds, putting it not towards education, and putting it towards the Bible when they're 49th in the country. And this is the thing, right? Like, if Trump wins, this guy is going to try to pivot to his administration, in my opinion, without a doubt, right? But then, if other Republicans win that feel like they can support this guy, I could see him getting a job with them. So, this is one of those things where a lot of people don't vote down ballot for various reasons. Even people that vote like Democrat down ballot, a lot of them don't vote when it comes to things like superintendent of schools, stuff like that. And part of the reason they'll do it, some people won't even vote at all. They'll just, like, if there's like a no option, like you don't vote for either person, they don't do it. But then you get people like this, right? Because people like this will campaign through groups, I'm assuming, maybe not that's exact group, but groups like Moms for Liberty, that type of far-right group, and will really rally up people to vote for them. And then you might end up, there are certain locations you'll find stories where there'll be Democrat, 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 and then the school board and the superintendent, they are all people like this, right? And that is why you hear so many people more and more saying, if you don't know, vote down ballot Democrat, which is not a good thing, right? Just blindly voting down ballot. But a lot of people are saying do it because do you think the Democrat's going to be this, right? And the answer generally is no. And there's a lot of arguments. A lot of people hate that when people vote down ballot for one side or the other. But it's kind of become a reality in America where I think most people are voting down ballot one way or the other. So how do I want to put this? It's kind of like whenever we had Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, and people are like, when they go low, we go high. And it's like, is it working? No, it wasn't. And then you have Kamala Harris, and she hits Donald Trump right in his crowd size. And that would be something that would be a low blow, but it was effective, right? Are we gonna play the game, or are we going to let the other side, that's kind of the argument when it comes to down ballot stuff. Preferably, you look up all your candidates, right? But if you can't, that's why there's a push. He is used. I've seen this man. The reason I'm saying this is because I literally just saw this guy. How I found out about this post was someone used this as an example of this is why I vote down ballot blue, right? And then someone else replied, well, this is why I vote down ballot red. So it's always best that you actually can like look up all the things. But if you're that's kind of an issue too I don't like about voting at the polling place, because if there's candidates and you don't know them, you can't really look them up on the fly, where if you're doing like a mail-in ballot or an absentee ballot, you can take your time and research every candidate. And I think maybe that's part of why there's a push by a lot of people to limit those things, because they really are banking on you not being informed, in my opinion. That's something, I mean, I understand like not wanting people on their phones when they're voting, especially because in certain states it's illegal to take photographs with like selfies and ballot pictures. If you didn't know, that's illegal in some states. Some states it's legal. It's just an issue. It's just I don't know how to solve it, right? How do you solve an issue in America where There's so many names on the ballot that it is near impossible for the average person to, off the top of their head, remember what every person's policy and stance is, right? And I think the solution, if you can call it that for a lot of people, is voting down ballot one way or another. I do think there are a lot of people who are Republican who, if they knew that someone like this was up for the vote, right? I think they would vote Democrat for that position, but they don't have the ability to, right? They don't know. They don't have the time to look through each candidate.